WWE have presented hundreds upon hundreds of order-only events since they first took a pump with the inaugural WrestleMania 4 decades ago. Unsurprisingly, these shows have run the gamut as far as quality is concerned. But we here at Cultaholic aren't ones to revel in negativity. We would never do that, and decided to celebrate the greatest supercards in WWE main roster history by looking at what we reckon are the 10 best. So pop in the VHS you got your mum to buy you from Woolworths and stay up until 4 o'clock in the bastard morning, because I'm Adam Pacitti from Cultaholic Wrestling, and these are the 10 best WWE pay-per-views ever. Join us. Number 10, In Your House Canadian Stampede. Yes, we are very much including the 2-hour cut price In Your House pay-per-views that WWE presented during the mid-90s. The best of the bunch was Canadian Stampede, which took place in the Calgary Saddledome on July 6, 1997. The 4-match card was a resounding 4 for 4, starting with Hunter Hearst Helmsley and Mankind going to a double countout after a stirring scrap. The Great Sasuke then defeated his Japanese counterpart Taka Michinoku in an exhilarating high-flying affair that suggested WWE's light heavyweight division may in fact be able to compete with WCW's cruisers. They couldn't, turns out, but this was great stuff regardless. The Undertaker then beats Vader to retain the world title in a surly hoss fight before the all-star 10-man tag team main event. In it, the Hart Foundation, Bret Owen, Jim Neidhart, Brian Pillman, and Davey Boy Smith joined forces to take down Steve Austin, Ken Shamrock, Goldust, and the Legion of Doom in a 25-minute stunner, no pun intended, that the Canucks in attendance went absolutely mental for. It might have only lasted as long as an episode of Raw at the time, but Canadian Stampede offered value for money 20 times over and holds up to this day. Number 9, Backlash 2000. When you talk about WWE's best and most consistent years ever, you will invariably land upon the year 2000. WWE had the right balance in the first year of the new millennium, with everyone from the opening match to the main event firing on all cylinders and the product having a true something-for-everyone feel about it. That was reflected at Backlash, which was capped off by The Rock's pulsating WWF title victory over Triple H in a barnstorming sports entertainment spectacle, notable for the tide-turning appearance of Stone Cold Steve Austin, who was still in the process of recovering from major neck surgery. The promotion's talent roster depth was on full display elsewhere, as Chris's Benoit and Jericho fought hard over the Intercontinental title in a cracking match, Dean Malenko retained his light heavyweight title in a gem with Scotty 2 Hotty, Eddie Guerrero walked away with his European Championship after besting S.A. Rios in an entertaining bout, and Crash Holly emerged from a wild six-pack challenge with his hardcore title. The show also featured a couple of very memorable moments, such as Bubba Ray Dudley finally putting Trish Stratus through a table, and The Big Show cosplaying as Hulk Hogan to squash Kurt Angle. Works for me, brother. Number 8, WrestleMania XL. It might be recency bias, but I reckon years from now, people will look back fondly on WrestleMania 40 as one of WWE's best ever pay-per-views, or premium live events if you're a candy-ass mark or child. The 2-night extravaganza yielded a ton of thrilling action and no shortage of memorable WrestleMania moments, starting with Night 1's opener where Rhea Ripley retained her Women's World Championship against Becky Lynch. Night 1 also had Sami Zayn ending Gunther's record-breaking IC title reign in euphoric fashion, and The Rock's first proper match in over a decade as he teamed with Roman Reigns to defeat Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. As enjoyable as Night 1 was, Night 2 was just that much better. Drew McIntyre beating Rollins to win the World Heavyweight title, only to lose it to a cashing-in Damian Priest, got things up and running with style. Bayley winning the Women's World title by beating Io Sky in a top-quality contest was another standout moment. And then in the main event, the American Nightmare finally finished his story and put an end to the Tribal Chief's mammoth title reign in an all-timer. Everything else across the weekend, not named Uso, was also worth sitting through. Number 7, SummerSlam 2013. Any WWE pay-per-view with a genuine 5-star match on it is worth checking out, and SummerSlam 2013 had 2 of them. The first was the Best versus the Beast as CM Punk and Brock Lesnar collided for their first, and let's face it, probably only time in a no DQ match. The ultimate David versus Goliath struggle, Brock versus Punk showcased the very best of both men as they went hell for leather for 30 absorbing minutes, their match building and building until Lesnar was finally able to put his plucky opponent away. The second was the babyface versus babyface main event, as John Cena defended the WWE title against hand-picked dance partner Daniel Bryan. It was very different to Brock versus Punk, but equally as compelling, ending with the American Dragon getting the clean win and establishing himself as a top guy for good, even if he did lose his title to a cashing-in Randy Orton moments later. SummerSlam 2013 also played host to the main roster in-ring debut of Bray Wyatt, who beat Kane in a Ring of Fire match, as well as a short but spirited match between the Rhodes Scholars, a fast-paced World Heavyweight title bout between Alberto Del Rio and Christian, and much more. Number 6, Survivor Series 2002. It might have felt like 1996 by the end of the night, given who walked away with the company's main prizes, but Survivor Series 2002 was a remarkable night of firsts. The big one was, of course, the first ever Elimination Chamber match, which saw Triple H defending his World Heavyweight title against Chris Jericho, Kane, Booker T, Rob Van Dam, and Shawn Michaels. It was a tremendous debut for the steel structure, full of thrills and spills, and the ending of the Heartbreak Kid winning the gold was a moment to savor. Another first saw Brock Lesnar suffer his first televised pinfall loss as Paul Heyman turned on him, allowing the Big Show to beat the next big thing for the WWE title. It was also the first night back in WWE for Scott Steiner, as Big Papa Pump popped the Madison Square Garden crowd big time with his unannounced appearance. The rest of the card was stuffed, with a 6-man table elimination match, a hardcore match for the women's title, a cruiserweight title bout, and a 3-team elimination match for the tag team titles, all of which provided excitement. Number 5, WrestleMania 19. WWE was spoiled for choice at the 19th WrestleMania, with 3 or 4 matches that could have realistically gone on last. The honor went to the first proper one-on-one meeting between Kurt Angle, defending his world title and wrestling with a broken freaking neck, and Brock Lesnar, who almost broke his own freaking neck with that insane shooting star press attempt. It was a captivating end to what had been a great show chock full of highlights, such as The Rock finally beating Steve Austin on the grandest stage in the last match of Stone Cold's full-time career, Shawn Michaels edging Chris Jericho in an intergenerational dream match, Hulk Hogan battering Mr. McMahon in a balmy street fight, and Booker T toppling that dastardly Triple H to win the World Heavyweight strap. Alright, that last part didn't happen, but it's nice to pretend, isn't it? The card was rounded out with a decent cruiserweight title sprint, a canny women's title triple threat, a solid 3-team tag title match, and The Undertaker extending the streak in a bout that WWE would not allow Nathan Jones to wrestle in after realizing that he was absolutely terrible. Number 4, SummerSlam 2002. From top to bottom, it's hard to think of a SummerSlam better than 2002's iteration of the event. It kicked off with an exhilarating first-time meeting between Kurt Angle and Rey Mysterio, setting the tone for what was to come. Ric Flair then beat Chris Jericho by submission in a fair match before Edge pinned Eddie Guerrero in another showcase for the SmackDown brand's loaded mid-card scene. Christian and Lance Storm retained their world tag titles against the ultra-popular odd couple duo of Booker T and Goldust in a heated match, after which Rob Van Dam regained the Intercontinental Championship from Chris Benoit in a strong style bout. The Undertaker's well-received victory for America over that dastardly un-American test was then followed by one of the most emotionally charged matches in WWE history, as a returning Shawn Michaels met Triple H in an unsanctioned match. HBK in the game tore the house down in an instant classic that proved Michaels had plenty left in the tank after a 4-year layoff. And finally, Brock Lesnar solidified himself as the King of the Mountain when he defeated The Rock to win the undisputed title in a cracking, torch-passing main event. Number 3, Money in the Bank 2011. 2011's Money in the Bank pay-per-view will forever be remembered for one match, and one moment too, but it's worth remembering that the rest of the show was also pretty damn good. Yes, the main event WWE title match between John Cena and CM Punk is the stuff of legend. Yes, the Chicago crowd were positively electric throughout it and elevated what was already a phenomenal bout to another level. Yes, it was exhilarating to watch the straight-edge superstar get the elusive clean W and walk out of WWE with the gold. Yes, it was... Oh, sorry, I got caught up reliving it all in my head and forgot my point there. What was it again? Oh yeah, the rest of the show, which featured 2 sensational Money in the Bank ladder matches and a customarily excellent World Heavyweight Championship meeting between Randy Orton and Christian. The Divas title match and Mark Henry's decisive victory over the Big Show won't linger long in the memory, but the show itself will, as the place where Punk finally cemented himself as a main event player in its iconic headliner. Number 2, ECW One Night Stand. It may have been ECW in name, but One Night Stand 2005 was very much a WWE presentation. Reviving the brand for an evening of blood-spattered nostalgia, WWE utilized the former ECW stars who were currently working for them while drafting in some special guests for the festivities. Was every match a classic? Not really, no. But was the tone of the show spot on and the crowd at a fever pitch from start to finish? You bet your bounced checks they were. Chris Jericho and Lance Storm opened things admirably. Super crazy little Guido and Tajiri did their thing and did it well. Rey Mysterio and Psychosis did what they could in the time allowed. Sabu reminded everyone what he was capable of while beating Rhino. Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero, even on an off day, were better than many on their best day. Masato Tanaka and Mike Awesome completely stole the show. And the Dudley Boys, the Sandman and Tommy Dreamer, and the cast of Misfits who provided run-ins and cameos ended things on a high before the intense post-match brawl and ceremonial chinning of Eric Bischoff. Even if you weren't a fan of Paul Heyman's promotion, you would have to try hard not to enjoy all of this. Number 1, WrestleMania X7. There are good WrestleManias, there are great WrestleManias, and then there is WrestleMania X7, which still stands tall as the true granddaddy of them all. Less than 1 week after they bought WCW, the red-hot WWF reinforced their sports entertainment superiority with a supercard for the ages. You want world-class technical wrestling? Have some Chris Benoit versus Kurt Angle. Fancy some storyline-heavy family drama? Look no further than Vince versus Shane McMahon. How about a weapons-based stunt show? Well, we have TLC 2 on the menu, thank you very much. There was also an immense match between The Undertaker and Triple H, a novel gimmick battle royal, and much more to savor on the undercard before the marquee match between The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Set up exquisitely with that evergreen My Way video package, the Great One and the Texas Rattlesnake held nothing back as they put on an absolute clinic inside the Houston Astrodome. The ending may have been polarizing at the time, but it did nothing to diminish either the match or the almost 4 hours of barnstorming entertainment that preceded it, even if Earthquake should have gone over.